Happy New Year. Thank you. Sometime in 40s, perhaps in 47 or 48, Babuji wrote this book. Then it was known as 10 Commandments. In Urdu, it was called Das Usul Ki Sarah. Now we call it as 10 Maxims. The translation from Urdu and Farsi mixed was never revised and never edited up until 2013, when we had some few good scholars from North India who helped us with the translation. And then it was also once again checked and rechecked with one scholar in Chennai, 2 scholars from Chennai. Our master found that the translation then was not very accurate. There were many mistakes. So, nothing very big also, but sometimes it can change the total meaning of it. The one I read to you yesterday, Babuji, the translation did not mention in the original translation about making mistakes unknowingly. It sounds very foolish. Why would you make unknowingly? How would you make unknowingly? Well, anyway, so based on that, one Abhyasi has reacted to the maxim, so explanation, and wrote me a mail. So I like to share this with you. It's quite interesting, and I thank our brother so that we get a chance to ponder over it further. Dear Daji, I am sorry to be offering a criticism of your commentary on Maxim 10. But I believe it is important for Maxim 10 to apply to both knowingly and unknowingly done wrongs. If I am not mistaken, you said that it does not apply to knowingly done wrongs, which you said are unforgivable. In my opinion, Maxim 10's most important purpose is not the forgiveness of the master, which is always there in the form of removal of samskaras created by wrongdoings, but the breaking of the cycle of tendencies creating samskaras. The feeling of guilt and resolve not to repeat the mistake is an opportunity for the removal of tendency that knowingly created the mistake, to stop the cycle of samskara creation by tendency. I also believe that Babuji's commentary says that this maxim applies to both unknowing and knowing wrongs. He can lay before him, Abhyasi can lay before him every wrong committed knowingly, unknowingly by him, or anything that might be against the principle. Against the principle, he quotes them, must be for something done knowingly. Knowing what the principle is, and therefore I believe he is saying this applies to both unknowing and knowing wrongs. Also, resolving not to do something again requires knowing what you did wrong, and therefore a resolution can only be applied successfully to knowingly done wrong things. I think this might be made clearer in the quote if comma was inserted after committed, as in, so it goes on like that. Well, anyway, my response to him was, dear brother, Master is ever willing to forgive. Disciple must not take it for granted and continue on his trail of wrongdoings. This is a fact. You may disagree, and I respect that. No disciple will expect mercy for the things he has done knowingly. He would rather go through the consequences. Master will surely forgive, but this way you will only perpetrate the wrongdoings. Anyway, as I told you, there are a lot of errors in the translation, and based on that, a lot of old Abhyasis, they tend to question the translation that was done and redone by our master. Sister Elizabeth Danley and Christine Prisland, they are both aware of this translation, and there is no insertion or dilution or change from the original texts. In fact, it has been further embellished and improved. What bothers most Abhyasis, especially those who are wanting to change and become better human beings, they like to be told, please help us get rid of all these things. Feeling guilty is not a solution. Repentance once, twice, thrice, it's okay. Samskars can be removed once, twice. But if Abhyasi keeps on bringing the same thing again and again and again and again, no. Master is not a washerman who keeps doing your laundry. He's not going to do it. Mistakes committed wrongly. Can you escape? Oh, sorry, I murdered my wife. Now think about it. Okay. Now, we carry on now from here we come back to maxim number 1. Okay. Now, maxim number 1 also, I'll read the old version and new version so there is no confusion. The old version. At bed, no. I have written the old version of the yesterday's maxim. At bedtime, feeling the presence of God, repent for the wrongs committed. Beg forgiveness in a supplicant mood, resolving not to allow repetition of the same. The new one, after revision of translation, at bedtime, feeling the presence of God, repent for the wrongs committed unintentionally. Beg forgiveness in supplicant mood and prayerfully resolve not to allow any repetition of the same. So there are 3 words here: committed unknowingly and prayerfully resolve. That changes everything. If you don't resolve not to, what will happen to repentance? You'll be on your track. Go ahead. Now, we read now maxim 1. Rise before dawn and offer your prayer and meditation at fixed hour. Complete them before sunrise. This was not there in the first translation. Complete them before sunrise. Okay. Does it change the meaning now of the maxim? Otherwise, they say, okay, you wake up before dawn and okay. If dawn is going to be at 5:55 in the morning, you start at 5:54. So you get tricky stuff, see. Have a separate place and sit for meditation. have a separate place and a seat for meditation. As far as possible, develop the habit of sitting in one and the same pose. Give special attention to purity of body and mind. Okay. So now I'm going to highlight few things here to you. Rise before dawn is number one. Number two is offer prayer and do your meditation. 3, at fixed hour. It makes all the difference. Complete them before sunrise. That was 4. 5th is have a separate place and a seat for meditation. 6th is to have the same pose. Develop the habit of sitting in one and the same pose. 7th, pay special attention to purity of body. And 8th is of the mind, purity of the mind. So you see here, there are 8 steps here. Very important or very significant things he has mentioned as a requirement. I think the first maxim is the most elaborate and most direct one. He's not giving us any freedom. He's very direct. You better complete before sunrise. You better wake up before dawn. Have a special place, have a special seat, have a same pose, meditating pose all the time. Maintain bodily and mental purity. Okay. Where to begin to start? First, we have to go back to some fundamentals of our practice. Once Master gave a talk in current. Practice, though, contributes a lot towards our evolution. It hardly contributes 5% towards our success. 95% plus is attributed to attitude. How you are practicing, with what sentiments, what attitude you have in your heart, and offering that to God. When we offer prayer, what is our state of mind? See? Moment we say, "Oh Lord," or "Master," immediately the sense of insignificance just pours out in us. "Oh Master," and then a sense of helplessness, sense of that, "My Lord, I know nothing, please help." This comes up. Also, the awareness begins inside that I do not know much. You are addressing him, telling him, "You are my goal. These are the things which bothers me and can't, because of which I am not able to progress," which is a fact of life, that the desires that you entertain, they become the stumbling block. And then we also refer to him and say, "Thou art the only God and power to bring us up to that stage." We recognize the role of God in our life, that without His help, we are unable to move forward. Though we often pray, regularly pray, somehow we think we are praying for myself as an individual. Though it is clearly mentioned, we are yet but slaves of wishes. We. Thou art the only God and power to bring us up to that stage. See, we, our, and us is there. Yet we end up making this mistake that it is about myself. So when prayer is offered, it is offered for us all as a unit, as humanity as a unit, and as our consciousness evolves, we include all that exists in this existence. That's one. Second thing, yesterday I read to you about Bhakti Bhava or Dasa Tattva or the feeling of a devotee. Now, what is the difference here between a student or a seeker who comes for the first time and does heartfulness practice? He's inquiring, what is this? I need to learn this. He's a learner. He has a lot of curiosities, a lot of questions. It's okay. All those questions are answered, perhaps over a period of time. More questions come up. Questions never end. See? Later on, questions, they come up in our hearts, but we don't ask. It's futile to ask. So that's the situation with seekers. Then they become a good practitioner. Then a practitioner slowly becomes a disciple, meaning practice is so disciplined, like this. Place is pakka, confirmed, seat is confirmed, position is confirmed, asana is confirmed, everything are in one go, is fully disciplined. Babaji used to call them as associates. These are my associates. Or disciples comes much later, rather. Disciple and devotees, I think I would use these words interchangeably, because devotee is the one where disciple has transcended everything, practice, etc., and become almost like master. He's full of love. Just as, there are scenarios where the raindrops falling in the ocean and becomes the ocean themselves. That's the situation with devotees. Their heart melts away in God. They are true devotees. Now, when they offer prayers and when they meditate, what will be their fragrance, their aroma, their attitude? They wait anxiously. In fact, that waiting itself becomes meditation for them. And when the actual time comes for meditation, it's like a quantum leap. It's like a rocket launched straight up. You cannot have the attitude of arrogance and offer prayer. Hey Master, or hey God, help me. I'm waiting here in this desert. You can't be arrogant about it, see. I was sharing an example of some of the marriages that happens in Afghanistan. If the girl is unwilling to marry, they'll abduct her on the horses. They'll take her away from the village and force her to marry, otherwise she'll be slaughtered. In real love, what happens? You go on your knees and beg, please, would you please marry me? And you give a rose or a ring. You don't put a ring around her neck and say, you better marry me, see. So there is a difference, you see, that's one attitude. where you are treating the other like an animal. Be my slave or whatever. And the other one is, I become your slave. Would you marry me? See, that attitude changes, and that makes all the difference in a real civilization. The spiritual civilization, it has its own etiquette. You're no longer a slave, or nobody is a slave. Both are equals. No master would think as a abhyasi as a subordinate. If he does think like that, he is not a master. You can shun him. So attitude is very important, very receptive in the beginning. So with this receptivity, when we offer prayer, when we close our eyes gently, everything happens then, in that very first moment. And then rest is just to receive whatever is, the exchange happens. Make a note of it in your diary, and that's all. After meditation is over, pay attention to your inner condition and try to hold on to it as much as you can. That becomes your history then, see. And then you wait for another sitting, another meditation, and another meditation. Life goes on, see. Why Babaji talks about meditation just before the dawn? It is not that you are so tired and you wake up at 9 in the morning and you say, no, I'm not going to meditate today, it's too late. That's also wrong. See, if we miss the first opportunity of meditating before dawn, any other time will be as good. Especially ladies, you see, especially in India, where they have double job, triple job, 4 jobs perhaps. In the house only, they are not going anywhere, only in the house. There are many roles to play. Look after in-laws, look after stupid husband, and, and look after children, and often many guests whom you cannot avoid because Atiti Deva Bhava. You have to look after them. So what happens to their practice? There is no time for practice. Very rarely they'll get some window during the afternoon. So Babaji used to say, yes, go ahead, meditate at that time. Whenever you get chance, whenever you get an opportunity of meditation, use that time. So, and if you still cannot, constant remembrance is there. Connect yourself with your open eyes and continue with your work. He is not saying to fight with the family and you get rid of the in-laws and get rid of husbands and guests, get out of this, I have to meditate. Then you're creating trouble. Family comes first. If you're not going to have peace in the family, how are you ever going to meditate? So wait, one by one the wickets will fall, so. Just a joke. But that used to happen quite a lot, though, see. One of my preceptor, a lady who gave me sittings, my introductory sittings, her in-laws would never tolerate her meditate. If she was meditating, they would just meditate. Husband was also a tyrant. She could not get time to meditate at all. So what she found a solution. She pretended in the bed that she was meditating, but she was lying down under the quilt. For a few minutes she would do like that, see. Husband never knew she was meditating, even though he was just right beside. In the evening, she would do her evening cleaning, go to the toilet and throw some buckets of water and pretend she's doing some cleaning work of the toilet. See? That's how practice was. She never took it as a challenge and stood against. Quietly, she did her job and went on. One by one, wicket fell and she was at peace. It was too late though. But afterward, you can see Babuji later on visited her house also, gave her a lot of special sittings too. So, sacrifice its own rewards. Patience has its own rewards. You couldn't do meditation because of whatever it is. It's all right. Don't create a world war in the family. See? Meditation is for peace. You can't fight for peace and say, oh, I have to meditate, I want to be at peace. What will happen to that? It's a wrong way of expressing the things. Now, why before dawn? I would like you to, I will not give the answer now, otherwise it will taint your conclusions. And this experiment that I like you to carry for next 2 days. You, any time in the morning or at night before dawn, close your eyes and see naturally the energy rhythm which is there is it outward or inward? Try to feel it at that time, at night. Whether you are emitting energy or you are absorbing energy. Okay. You can do the same thing during daytime, at various periods during daytime. See if you are absorbing or emitting the energy during daytime. Now, I'd like you to have more experiments, going further and further. Try to fill your nostrils and see if you are breathing from both the nostrils at the same time. One will always be dominating over the other. Sometimes both are working equally. Sometimes only the right, sometimes only the left, sometimes right is more than left. Both are there, but one of them will be dominating. So make a note of it, and at what time. And then you make a note, oh, when my right nostril is dominating, am I emitting energy or am I absorbing energy? This she should be able to say very easily. So after you make this conclusion, we'll take up this maxim and explain about why dawn. Why must we finish everything before dawn? Okay. So now we go to the next aspect. What the place? Why does he insist on having a fixed place? There are some of us whose jobs are, they are in different city every day. You can't expect that. These are exceptions. In general, we should designate one place in our house and say, okay, this is my place for meditation, this is my seat for meditation, and use that only. When we have to offer our night bedtime prayer, and this exercise of repentance and things of that sort, making a resolution that I will not do this again, visit that spot and do that. See, sit down in that place, in that seat, and offer a prayer, and go into meditation in the morning. At night, scan through all day's activities and see where we could have gone wrong. Find the moments when you are not able to remain connected with God or Lord. or with your inner higher being. Find the moments when you made a mistake and see how, if a similar situation arises again, how you can correct them. Do that in a separate room. But that doesn't mean that sometimes you feel lazy and say, okay, I'll do it in my bed. What could you do? Muscle up some courage and go to the room and sit. Don't laziness overtake you. I grew up in a village. And I had seen, we used to have buffaloes and cows. And they had their own stump, specific to each animal. They were tied there. The moment you release them, they all go together outside the village for grazing. In the evening when they return, each cow or buffalo will go to their own respective stump. They don't mess around. You noticed it? They don't go to other stump and stand there. They'll go to their own stump and just stand to be tied up. They have so much of wisdom. This is the spot. This is my spot. We need to designate our stumps in our house. This is my stump. I will meditate here. This is my comfortable place. And the place where we meditate regularly, it creates atmosphere. It creates vibrations. It charges the place. It becomes divinely charged. Because every day transmission is descending there. Every moment you are contributing personally as well. And when many other abhyasis come to your home, you are in your seat and others are also around or besides you sitting, and they all contribute to this environment. See. But one day you sit in the bathroom, one day you sit in the bedroom, one day you are somewhere, and this is a chaotic life. See. Though you're not doing anything wrong, but just by becoming alert and aware, you can channelize. Anyway you're going to meditate. Anyway you would have finished your meditation. So might as well do it in one particular place. Is it too much? I don't think so, right? It's not too much of a demand. If I'm going to meditate in one place anyway, might as well fix a place. And if I'm going to meditate anyway during daytime, might as well do it before dawn. But we all have our weaknesses. I can't get up before dawn. Then the only best thing is at least you can fix an hour. Okay, 8 o'clock every morning. Stick to one discipline, see. To my heart, it is better to meditate regularly at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. or 10 a.m., even if it is for 5 minutes. So the first discipline is to bring about time in order. Why time should be fixed? Many reasons are there. One is Babuji says so. For us, it's ultimate. He says, establish biological clock in your sadhana. Science also says the same thing, but a bit differently. They say, we have our own circadian rhythm. Meaning, as the sun and earth and moon affect our physiology, see. More than physiology, they affect everything in our life. Earth moves around the sun, moon moves around our planet Mother Earth. What happens internally is of tremendous consequences. The anterior hypothalamus, must be some doctors who can take a seminar on all this particular circadian rhythm only. It's pacemaker of this, maintaining the circadian rhythm. Early in the morning, there are certain hormones, neurotransmitters at peak in the morning, which is not the case in the evening or in the afternoon. They provide us good defense system, they maintain our immunity, our freshness, which is there early in the morning. It is incomparable with other parts of the day. It affects our what they call HPA axis, hypothalamus, pituitary, and anterior. Adrenal gland axis is maintained. How the whole thing happens, I wish some doctor would explain the circadian rhythm, HPA axis, and meditation. It will be fun. Simple to say that if we miss this morning business before sunrise, the naturally available hormones and neurotransmitters are lesser in quantity, lesser in concentration. Those hormones help us. There are many. That's why, at least in India, many kids who are learning music, they practice early morning hours. Someone was talking to me yesterday about the power of subconscious. It's not in our hands. But surely our activities, when they become automatic, when we bring about automatism in our practice, it becomes subconscious. It becomes a part of our being, part of our physiology, part of our biology, everything it becomes. Like, in the beginning when you're struggling to drive a car, right? You don't know where the pedal, accelerator is, where the clutch is, and the windows, and your rear window, mirror. And you're so focused on so many things, and you are anxious at that time, anxiety at a very high level. And when the inspector is there, driver inspection test, you pray like hell, my Lord Jesus Christ, please help me, I have my exam today. And you are so tensed up. But later on comes time in life where you drive effortlessly. You don't have to make conscious effort in where my keys are and where the keys will go and where my foot will go on the accelerator. It just happens. It becomes part of you. So over a period of time, when we practice fixed place, fixed time, everything fixed, it becomes our unconscious effort. Patanjali, in his Yoga Sutra, would call it Prayatna Sitilikaran. That is the second sutra of Patanjali. Meaning, relax all your efforts. Don't try hard too much. When we have to meditate and try, I have to meditate, I have to go in samadhi. And you try hard. Will you go in samadhi? It's not possible. You're so anxious, your efforts are so powerful. Try to sleep with a lot of efforts. I have to sleep right away. I have to get up in the morning at 3 to catch a flight. And you would expect that moment you hit the bed, you're gone. These expectations and trying too hard spoils everything. See? So just chill, as they say, relax. And let things happen, let things unfold. But efforts should be there, but they should be totally relaxed efforts. And this happens only by practice. In the beginning, it will be a struggle. It will be full of efforts in the beginning, but it becomes part of us then, you see. So that is that. We talk about place, the time, Now what is remaining? Position. Oh, good. That's also very interesting one. See, maintain same pose all the time. I'd like you to do one exercise just now. See, do like this. See. Now just change and do this. Was both of the same comfort? No. Okay. Now meditate like this. Suppose you meditate like this, with your hands like this. Okay. And now change it like this, you see. Can you do it? You can't. So body has adopted certain way of even touching fingers and touching shoulders and folding things. Welcome. God is calling. You better answer. So, another example I give, okay. And let's say Babuji or God is sitting in front of you, and you say, huh? Would you sit like that? No. So, position, the way you sit also creates a kind of attitude, it prepares us. If you meditate like this, you might feel relaxed, but you will not go deeper. You have to fold your legs for sure. Why folding? We'll come to that later. But even if you're in a chair, you'd better sit like this. It will, anyway, even if you don't try to, it will automatically happen like that, see. But if you do it from the beginning like this, it's for our good. You can't go in Sirsasana because it's one of the Hatha Yoga exercise. We have some Hatha Yoga fanatics here, see. They insist all yoga asanas are good, but try Sirsasana and meditate. Sirsasana is, when you are standing on your head. This meditation is not about gymnastic activities. It should be comfortable. Again, sage Patanjali calls it very briefly and very nicely, Sukham Sthiram Asanam. Adopt a position in such a way that it comforts you, and in that comfort position, you are able to remain steady for as long as you have to meditate. So, comfortable, steady asana. There is nothing fancy about meditation that you must sit like this and like that. But this should be comfortable. Best way is this, the way I've been sitting. I've been sitting like this. I hope people would learn it, but very few are like this, you see. This is the best position. If you cannot sit in like this, chair like this. This is the best way. Now Babuji puts it in a very, because he is able to go into the depth and talks about vibrations, energy, how energy flows inside us. So I'd given you a few exercises, no? So try to do this exercise and follow your energy pattern. See what happens. You sit like, and see your energy flow, and sit like this and see your energy flow. Okay. It will explain to you why and how it happens. But theoretically, as he says, he gives an example that when the universe was created, there was a bang, and everything gushed forth from that outward, right? Now, when the time will come, when things has to return back, to the source. We call in Christianity as doomsday, right? Or in Sanskrit they call it Mahapralaya, where everything dissolves. So creation is outward expansion. And when it has to return back to the source, it is contraction. Contraction produces a lot of peace and calmness. When things are happening, moving towards home, you feel at peace. When we contract all our limbs like this, it also creates, in his words, he calls it individual pralaya at a physical level. Then it collapses at a mental level, then at a spirit level, and then you are in samadhi. So, with this contracted position, we are able to meditate better. That's a simple thing, that's all. Anything else left? Huh? Oh, yama and niyama. Yep. But do I have to mention all that? You all know that, why purity and that. See, I had fun, lot of fun this time. When I walk around the ashram and I find some unwanted things and I tell my friends, this is not right, this is not right, this is not clean. I have to do something. Sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't. They expect that, oh, Kamlesh Bhai will forget it. And then I'm on a second round, then my blood pressure goes up, see. I told these guys, but they don't listen. But fortunately, a few days back, we had President of India visiting our ashram. Everything was cleaned up. So sometimes I'm playing with them and say, oh, now Prime Minister from so-and-so is coming. We'll say Australian Prime Minister is coming. So if such politicians are so important in your life, and when you are entertaining godly presence, खुदा आ रहे हैं मेरे दिल में, खुद आया ना, उसको खुदा कहते हैं, वो तो खुद आता रहता है, खुदा आया. He is always there. Why should we bother about God? But when we meditate, then you're inviting the most significant part of our life, God. Can we be careless? We can't be. When we receive this transmission, which is divine gift, we can't be careless about it. Everything should be spick and span. Mind, heart, soul, everything, see. Everything should be dropped. Forget even who you are. I could see people falling at the feet of these politicians, oh my God, as if they're going to give them liberation, see. I don't know, this is for some of our... Now I'll end this morning session with 2 couplets. What happened to them? Okay. This is from a great Sufi, Khusro, Amir Khusro. And when you apply these 2 principles, 2 couplets in our life, I think it summarizes the attitude we should have. First, I read it in original language. He had written, Khusro Darya Prem Ka, So Ulti Wakidar, Jo Ubra So Dub Gaya, Jo Duba Hua Par. He says, Khusro, this world, this universe, this ocean of life is full of love. But it is an awkward tradition. trend is quite awkward. How? जो उबरा सो डूब गया means one who came out of these oceans, he dies. And the one who is sunk in that ocean is liberated, or he is made eternal. So in this ocean of life we call love, if you escape samadhi, you have escaped the real thing. But if you go deep in samadhi and get drowned in it, you will become eternal. Second one is this. खुसरो बाजी प्रेम की मैं खेलूं पी के संग. खुसरो बाजी प्रेम की मैं खेलूं पी के संग. जीत गई तो पिया मेरे, पिया मोरे, हरि पी के संग. This is all about surrender. Khusro says this life that we are going on with, it's a game of love. I'm playing this game of love with my beloved, God. If I win, God is mine. If I lose, I'm His. So it's a win-win situation. Now you want to be together. You took it away. All right. Thank you.